Hi everybody, my name is Brenda Lee Kitchen. I'm the coordinator for Protect NL, and I'm really happy to be here Sunday, February 1st. We're going to be talking about Triple Point Resources, which is a company wanting to set up industry here on the Southwest Coast, but a company that everybody should be aware of and asking questions about because they want to store hydrogen, other gases, and compressed air under the Trans-Canada Highway. We're also going to be talking about John Risley and Brendan Paddick, and a great blog that was written by Fox Carter Blogger. I'm also going to show you some never seen before footage of a conversation that I had with Julie Lemure, who is the CEO of Triple Point Resources. Hi Kayla, thank you so much for tuning in. A huge thank you to Kayla for being so fantastic and always having such a great smile whenever I see her out and about. Kayla, and hi to Kelsey and Isabella and Ashley if they're watching. Really appreciate all you ladies. Hi Amanda, I'm so glad to see you here because tonight when I talk about Triple Point Resources, it also ties into the fantastic post that you made earlier this week about what's happening at the community level, how there are sneaky and sly, underhanded dealings taking place, all to push these projects through and to manipulate the people. So glad that you can join us, Amanda. And for those who don't know, Amanda has also created Protect Our NL Fishery. So that's a page that you can like and follow for updates, especially if you're interested in what's happening with the fishery. Amanda is a long-time fisherman herself, comes from a long line of fishing, the people who've been involved in the fishing, including her mother and her father. Hi Chantel, so nice to see you here. Thank you. You've been so dedicated. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Hey Christy, I'm still wearing your gorgeous earrings, moonstone and garnet, which is perfect for the night of a full moon here. So really appreciate all your beautiful work and all your art. Christy has a business called Trinity Rocks. You should check her out because it's beautiful jewelry. Hey, yes, Amanda, they're not as sneaky as they think. And I know many of you know Jen Whiteway, and Jen Whiteway reminded me of a quote, something along the lines of, you know, lies are easily spread, but the truth holds fast. And we're just here continuing to stand on truth and integrity. And we are fighting for Newfoundland and Labrador. We love Newfoundland and Labrador. And we are the people who will continue to stand. The lies may have caught fast early in the beginning, but people will see through the lies as long as we keep standing and telling the truth, okay? And deep down in their guts, they know. People know when the truth rings. It's just that sometimes communities can be run by gossip and lies, and it's really hard to break away from that. Hi, Linda. Oh, I love you so much. Linda Brockerville. She's been so fantastic. A fantastic letter writer as well. So we do need dedicated letter writers. Writing letters and emails and making phone calls, yes, they work. You have to be dedicated with it, okay? Hi, Deneen. Oh, beautiful Deneen. She's a dancer and a model, and she's just fantastic. She's in the St. John's region. Hey, Gerald. Gerald, you're from out on the Port Peninsula, right? You're a bus driver. I'm pretty sure I remember you. Really appreciate you following us and staying in tune. We got some good news about John Risley and hopefully going to push him right out of business. Poor old guy is being taken to court, and I loves it. Hey, yeah. Oh, so good to see you all. No response. So Linda, you're so good at emailing. So anybody, and you know what, a huge thank you to people who have been emailing. This has been our latest push. We've been asking people to email Jonathan Rowe, Carol Anstey. They're the two MPs. One is for the Burin Peninsula region and more. It's a very big region. And Carol is for Long Range Mountains and here on the West Coast. Because a lot of these people are, you know, they're ignoring the polls that's happening in their areas against these projects. They're not respecting the democratic process. We got Carol Anstey already supporting the Triple Point Resources project and going to lobby for federal money. You know, so come on, right? Like, when are they going to talk to the people and stop pushing their own agendas through? But we have to be dedicated to writing those emails. We have to be dedicated at making telephone calls. And for as long as we continue to just say the government, nobody in particular is going to answer. We have to call them out by name. Carol Anstey, we have to call them out. Jonathan Rowe, Tony Wakeham, Hal Cormier, the rep for our, the MHA for our area, Jeff Dwyer, Paul Pike, the MHAs on the Burin Peninsula. They all lied and told people not to worry about the wind turbines, that the projects were going to be scrapped. So, if it's going to be scrapped, like, why can't they find their balls and scrap them themselves? Government was elected to protect the people. So protect us. We know the deals are terrible. We can see that these people are crooks. And here we are with John Risley and Brenda Paddick, two founders of World Energy GH2, being taken to court in Ontario. We don't have to do business with people like that. We can wait. There are good businessmen and women out there. We just have to wait for them. We don't have to jump in bed with the first person come knocking on our door. Plus, they're in bed with Anthony. They're in bed with Andrew Fury, which is not good because he's also shown that he was not here for the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. We don't have to do business with these people. We can just say no, and government needs to stand with the people on this one. Hi, Brian. Where's God's country? Well, I know it's in Newfoundland, Labrador somewhere, but you must be out in the country somewhere, like in rural Newfoundland, maybe in a cabin. I sure hope so. Hi, Rachel. Oh, thanks so much for being so dedicated. Rachel, you've been fantastic. Sharing, information in the group as well, our Facebook group, Protect NL. Thank you for writing your emails. Joanne Cook, she grew up out here in Robinsons. Joanne, if you know anybody in this area, I'm going to be talking about Triple Point Resources. Share this with them. Share this live with them. Get them to ask questions to the area development, the local service district. Like, my name has been trashed out here. People on those organizations are being gaslit. It's not really... I'm not really going to get anywhere. I've reached out to quite a few of them, actually. I've shared information. Nobody's wanted to meet with me. They don't want to touch me with a 10-foot pole because of the gossip, the bullying, the lies. I don't know why. Our lives are all at risk. Our futures are all at risk. They're not preserving themselves by staying away from me. Yes, I've been bullied relentlessly, and people who have stood with me have also experienced bullying. But you have to keep your eye on the ball, on the bigger picture. If you love rural Newfoundland, you really have to stand up and speak up now, or else the way that you love, the way of life that you have loved is going to come to an end. There won't be no more hiking out to the highway with your snowshoes and having a boil up in the woods. It's going to change because industry wants to move in. Industry wants to take over. So for those that love living in these areas, especially the impact areas, you got to speak up now. And if you're from St. John's, you're going to be impacted too, no doubt, because the townies need the Baymen as much as the Baymen need the townies. And Newfoundland and Labrador depends a lot on our tourism industry, our fishery. We have to protect our sustainable industry. We can't be sacrificing that when con men like John Risley is moving in with a company. And quite frankly, Everyone Fuels is not any better over on the Burin Peninsula. So, we all got to find our courage now, and we all got to speak up. Hi, Alfred. So good to see you in here, man. It's awesome to see you. Love you so much. Thank you for keeping the fight going on the Burin Peninsula. Because just like in Amanda's post earlier this week, there's wheeling and dealing happening all over the island. People are desperate to push these projects through. And most of the people that are desperate to push it through are people who think that they got something to gain, or they've already been involved in these backdoor deals. We're seeing it right in our own community. It's been horrible what's happened here. It's just really discouraging. We got Peggy Margaret White out here. We got Elvis Gillum out here pulling a fast one. He got Joni Berry doing his bidding. She's the office admin at the local service district. It's really concerning. This is why people need to just bypass Joni. Elvis is still involved, so just bypass Joni and speak to your elected representatives. Hold those people accountable. You voted for them to represent your best interest. And people just can't say that they're neutral anymore. These organizations cannot say they're neutral. They have to have community meetings. They have to have polls. This is life-changing what is happening. Neutrality is not going to protect you. It's actually consent, okay? Being neutral is being seen as consent. So you've got to think about that. That's right, Amanda. The bullies don't bother us. I got skin as thick as a rhinoceros now, so it ain't I'm through the worst of it. And the tide has turned in my favor. I was successful in getting a peace bond against a real bully here on my own street. So, you know, the courts were in my favor there. The police are listening to me now, and things are really changing around. So just gotta, just like Jen Whiteway said that time, lies spread fast, but the truth holds steadfast. Hey, Brian, so you're out in CBS, did you say? I'm sorry, sometimes I missed the comments there, but so good to see you here. We need support all over the island, and we need people emailing their politicians from all over the island, because they think that they're safe because they're not hearing from St. John's region and surrounding areas. That's where the population is. This is where we've really got to stand together. That's right, Brian. I could totally whoop your butt. And I'll fight dirty too. No, I'm just joking. Oh my, it's so good to, I mean, we love the people. Is the people of Newfoundland and Labrador is, you know, we love you. Our love for you is infinite, and we will continue to stand and speak the truth and do everything we can to continue to rally the people. The turbines are not up. These projects have not started. We still have time to get ahead of it. People make fun of Newfoundland and Labrador all the time for being behind the times, but this is one of the times when that is actually working in our favor. Hey, Jim, nice to see you here. Jim Haggett, I think is a new name. So you got any questions at all, we'll do our best to answer them. Oh yeah, St. John's is changing more and more. You're going to feel the ripple effects of the poor management of government as well. Yes, you're right. You're right. So we can all stand together now. We can all protect our beautiful Newfoundland and Labrador. We have a chance to get over this, okay? I just want to say a huge thank you to each and every one of you again for all your support, for emailing these politicians, holding them accountable. For those of you that's also emailing media, thank you very much. We know that the government does not like bad press, so we got to give it to them, especially Tony Wakeham. I mean, he's doing so well out there. He doesn't want anything coming up now to hurt or mar his public perception. So we really have to keep the pressure on. And for those of you that do believe in the PC government, then I applaud you, and I encourage you to reach out to them and find the good politicians. I do believe there's good politicians out there. I'm going to be writing Leela Evans this week. I've admired her for a very long time. And also Christopher Tibbs, I'm going to be emailing him this week on behalf of Protect NL. We'll be sharing our emails in the Protect NL Facebook group as well. Hi, Diane. Diane's from Central. She's just been fantastic as well. I love you so much, Diane. When I travel across the island, like sometimes I'm having meetings, but even if there's just one or two people in different areas, I'm meeting with them, because Diane, people like Diane, you're just as important as anybody else on this island, and you can have such a huge impact. This is where we can get stronger. We may be scattered throughout the island, but we are strong and we are unifying, and we're doing fantastic. And I'm really proud of you. And this is why we have rules of respect in our Facebook group. We will not stand for anybody calling Newfoundlanders stupid or using the word libtard, which is very distasteful. I mean, I was a liberal for years, but look at me now. I'm a fantastic fighter. I've done really well for the province. So, you know, you just can't be slapping labels on people and expect that they're going to be able to fight for you. You have to encourage people, help them rise up, believe in themselves, remind them of their fighting spirit. We're fighting Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. We have what it takes. We have lots of education between us. We're fantastic. We're smart. We're intelligent. We can win this. You just got to stay dedicated and keep the conversation going, okay? And by working with Protect NL, we can be strategic and take strategic action. Ah, it's horrible. Yeah, Brian, it's horrible what happened in Stephenville. Some idiot, yeah, con artist. I actually knew Carl Diamond when I was back in cadets. Never would have suspected that this guy was as devious as what he turned out to be. And now you got the lawyer from Stephenville, Trevor Stagg, representing him, which absolutely makes no sense, because why didn't he use his skills to help protect the town that he's grown up in, Stephenville? But we'll be dedicating a live to the town of Stephenville and what's happened there very soon. Because it's just like you say, and if the people of Stephenville don't start coming together, they're just going to be a target again and again and again. They're easy pickings right now. There's people that are talking about it, but that's all we're really seeing is talkers. But they got to get together, they got to get organized, and they got to start taking action. Oh, Amanda, you're an amazing person. I just love you so much. I'm so lucky to have met you. Hi, Ian Swati. Nice to hear from you. Appreciate you popping in here. I just want to remind people as well that we have a new YouTube channel, Protect Newfoundland and Labrador. There's over 30 videos there. They're fantastic, so you can use them as well to help educate others and let them know what's happening. There's videos there dedicated to Peggy Margaret White. They're dedicated to why we should be protecting there's areas in Newfoundland. There's so many migratory birds there on the Burin Peninsula and the Conroy Valley. All those videos, there's like over 30 of them. They were all created by Sally Kitchen, who's done a fantastic job. Thank you so much, Sally. We appreciate you very much. So if you're looking for a way to help educate people, you can share these YouTube videos. Hi, Mark. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to talk about Triple Point resources really soon, so please, I know it may be hard to look at this old mug for 45 minutes or so, but hang in there, because I'm going to show a video now of myself talking with Julie Lemieux, who's the CEO of Triple Point Resources, and she agrees to doing a lot for our area. So now we got to see, and that video was taken about 2 years ago, so we really need to hold her accountable to what she's saying in that video. I also want to just remind people that our court session was rescheduled, was canceled in January. It's rescheduled now to March 18th in St. John's at Atlantic Place. So if you're in the area and you can make that court, it's closing arguments. I'll be creating an event really soon. And next week, we're going to have a new campaign, and this is where we're going to really need people's help, okay, to make it effective. So we'll launch that new campaign next Sunday. Sally is a queen. They try to say me and Sally are the same person, and I'm like, oh my gosh, well, they must think I'm brilliant, because the output of what this woman is able to produce, I'd never be able to do that and what I do myself. But no, we're not the same person. She's my sister, older sister. Brian, today people are afraid to speak up because governments and politicians, two people that you cannot trust as government and politicians. Oh man, it's terrible that it's gotten like that. I do hold true that there has to be some good politicians out there, and we just got to find them. But you know what? If none of them are out there for the good of the people, then it's still up to the people to influence the hand of government, and we can do that. We just have to stay dedicated. You'll hear me say on occasion that democracy is dead, but it ain't dead yet. We are still in a democracy, and we have to use that to our advantage as much as possible. Paul, hey Ivan, thanks for popping in. Ivan Hinks. That sounds like a Port aux Basques name. I don't know if you're from Port aux Basques area. Paul Pike, notice the new tourism commercials for a province thinking wind turbines are the next best thing. I know, not one to be seen in the tourism commercials is just crazy. Because if these wind energy projects have their way, you're going to see wind turbines, and not just wind turbines. We're talking mega turbines. Like, these are some of the biggest in the world. They'll get off the ferry in Port aux Basques, and they'll see them all across the island, ranging from 656 feet tall to 751 feet tall. Again, some of the biggest in the whole world, okay? People just don't have any idea what they're in for. This is why we have to continue speaking and speak loudly and persistently, because we still have time to get ahead of this. Brian's saying, you got no worries, you're going to be walking. Again, pure waste of our court's time. Yeah, well, Brian, we really feel that it was the punishment is the process, anything to try and deter us from continuing to ask our questions. They want myself, Amanda, and Jen tired, exhausted, using up our money, using up our resources. I just took up some more pole dancing classes down at the Piccadilly pub. I'm just joking. I'm only joking. But yeah, they just want us exhausted so that we don't ever try anything like that again, and we just shut up and go away. But we're using it to our advantage as much as possible to continue to raise awareness. And we really thought we were going to hook some good international or national media about it. So we have to keep pushing there. Hi, Rhonda. Thank you so much for tuning in, Rhonda. I'm going to be talking about triple point resources. I'm going to be showing a video very shortly. And please, I encourage you to ask questions to our representatives on the ADA, the local service district. And if they don't answer us, and if they're not responding to us, then we're going to have to get a people's group started here in Bay St. George South. And there's a lot of people out there who have come up to me and told me that they support me. They support me privately. They can't speak up for this reason or that reason. And I really do appreciate all your support, but supporting me privately is not going to help our area, because while you're supporting me privately, I still got people like Elvis Gillum going around trying to gaslight people about me and continuing to tarnish my good name. So like, I can't, like a lot of people aren't listening to me, I don't think, for that reason, but they could listen to you if you got involved. Or Mark, like, you're well respected, you're a veteran in the area, like you and your wife, Brenda, you want to retire here, right? Well, these salt caverns is all about triple point resources right now, but there's salt caverns being explored under all of our communities, including Robinson's. And the salt cavern they're talking about in Fischel's is big, but the one in Robinson's is even bigger. And nobody's talking about that company. Our local service district and our ADA could be representing us, but they're claiming to be neutral. We don't know what discussions they're having with these companies. They're meeting with them enough so that the companies can check off their check boxes, but there's no meeting minutes, there's no recordings, we don't know what's being discussed. There's no transparency, there's no accountability. People are trying to ask Joni Berry questions at the local service district, and she's obviously regurgitating from a script. It's very disheartening. And you can't even write her on Facebook because you don't know who has access to that Facebook. Elvis had access to it when we were on the local service district. We tried to get him removed, but he wouldn't let it go. So, is he still involved? It's really sad what's happened. I trusted and admired both of those people here in our area. I even believed in Peggy Margaret White, Lord help me, in the beginning. But once you see the truth, you will know the difference. And the only way to see the truth is to start asking questions. And once you ask those questions, you got to go down the rabbit hole. So just, hear me out on what I have to say, and then go and do your own research. Go and ask your own questions. Hi, Melvin. Melvin Jackman's doing so much to protect our province from the dirt of the salmon farms, the industry garbage. You're doing a great job, Melvin. Hi, Wilbert. I love you, Wilbert. Wilbert is Amanda's dad, but I still love him. He's amazing, and he gives the best hugs, honestly. Yes, Diane, we're going to have to look into that, girl, because it's ridiculous what's happened. Yes, Amanda, is too much on the line to give up. Well, the thing is about getting tired, this is where you need a group, and the group can help rise each other. You can help feed off each other's energy and help each other during the low times. If somebody's getting bullied, you can be there to help that person through it, and vice versa. But they're not going to bully all of us. They came at me with full force. They came at some others in our area, like Brenda Gale, Tracy Gillis, I'm sorry. And so, we took our punches, and we're still standing. And some of us are still fighting, and eventually, a lot of these bullies have fallen away. There's only a couple that's continuing to cling on, like Elvis Gillum, and you got to wonder, what skin in the game does that guy have? So I'm going to jump right into, it's 8:30 already. I'd like to keep this to 45 minutes if possible, but, no more than an hour. I can't imagine you out there having to watch me for an hour, but I'm trying to be very entertaining with facts and figures. But Triple Point Resources, back in 2024, I was at a protest outside the Energy and L conference in St. John's, and I wore a body cam. And I wear that body cam around this community as well because of the bullying to protect myself. But it sure come in handy that day. And it is completely lawful to wear a body cam in public spaces, 100%. I even checked with the police that was on site for the protest, Inspector Brennan. And I have body cam footage of a discussion that I had with Julie Lemure, who's the CEO of Triple Point Resources. It was 2 years ago. And in this video, I asked her, like, if you have the consent of the community, because I'm really big on community consent. I believe that there should be public meetings with the company present as well as government officials present, because you don't want them being able to pass the buck back to the government, and then you're running after the government for answers, and they pass the buck back to the company, yada, yada, yada. Have them all in one meeting, and then the community can have a vote. And if the community consents, then you can start discussing things like community benefits. If they want to use your fire department, how are they going to augment the fire department? So I had a chance encounter with Julie Lemieux, CEO of Triple Point Resources, where I asked her, look, if you have community consent, will you come to our area and have a meeting? Yes. Will you come and you want to use the fire department? Will you augment the fire department? Yes. Will you agree to a community benefits agreement where people from our area, the people in the impact area, will be the first ones to get the jobs? Yes. So she's agreeing to all of these things, and she don't say it like that now. But I'm going to show the video to you yourself. That was 2 years ago, and let's see where we are today after you watch that, because apparently this company is already claiming strong community support. And the community, this was in their October newsletter. I got it printed off. I can prove it. They claim strong community support. Well, who gave them the community support? Because I can guarantee you, if you're giving community support already, you ain't going to be getting any of those community benefits. You're not getting that stuff after. Haven't you ever heard the saying, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? So who gave that community support? Was it Peggy Margaret White when she was the ADA president and the LSD president? Was it Elvis Gillum when he shut down the LSD for 2 weeks and he was the only one there? If Triple Point Resources is open, transparent, and accountable, they will tell us who gave the strong community support. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? And just to let you know, this company has already met with Tony Wakeham. They've already met with Carol Anstey, who supports it and agrees to lobby for federal investments. And here, 2 years later, after this meeting, this company have only had 1 day of drop-in sessions, I believe. And this is where you have to be looking at the pattern of behavior all across the island. And we know that these drop-in sessions, they're not good, because when they can talk to you one-on-one, they can say anything they want to win you over. We saw that with World Energy GH2. We've seen it on the Burin Peninsula with Everwind Fuels, and Amanda has seen it with ABO and with North Atlantic. They say whatever they want just to win you over, okay? So, these drop-in sessions where they can talk to you one-on-one is not good enough. They have to have a community meeting. But Triple Point Resources have had drop-in sessions. They've met with our ADA and local service district. No meeting minutes have ever been kept. There's no recording, so we don't know what's being discussed. And when I brought this forward to the ADA a while ago, I was told nobody has asked any questions. And I'm blacklisted by quite a few people because of the gaslighting and bullying. So for me to even, attempt to formally address the ADA or a local service district, quite frankly, is not going to get me anywhere. I have tried to speak to individuals, but they're not interested. They're just not interested. But this is where the people of the community really need to rise up. Because for as long as it's just Brenda Kitchen speaking out, they will continue to say that this is just personal. they'll continue to say stuff like, oh, Brenda just wants to be leader. Brenda wants to be the chair of the LSD. She wants to be the president of the ADA. No, I never wanted any of this. I never wanted any of this, okay? I wanted, and if you knew me before all this happened, you would know that I was living in St. John's. I sold my house. I left my job because I wanted to live a quiet life in rural Newfoundland with my mom and dad as a caregiver to my aging parents, maybe with a few animals, chickens or something. I was trying to make a living as an artist, and then I tried as a personal trainer. I didn't want any of this, but when I saw what was happening and I saw how wrong it was, how the people were being manipulated and lied to, I knew I had to speak out. And now I know that the way of living that we love and cherish is really at risk. Okay, so enough of that. I'm going to go straight to the impromptu meeting that I had with Triple Point Resources, Julie Lemure. And I also want to remind people that here in Bay St. George South is about a lot more than just Triple Point Resources, because they're using the same tactics that World Energy GH2 tried. World Energy GH2 was all the razzle dazzle, and they really kept our attention on them. They had an office, they had all these marketing materials, they were going out traveling around and doing interviews. Meanwhile, Everwind Fuels is just moving ahead there on the Barren Peninsula with an even bigger project, trying to launch the largest wind farm in North America on the Little Barren Peninsula, along with a solar farm, and they're sticking with the, I think the solar farm is even going to be the third largest in the world. So Triple Point Resources is doing the same thing. All of our attention's on Triple Point Resources because they're not actually in the community. Not that they won't impact the surrounding communities, but there's no discussion of what's happening with Vortex ENergy. That's the company that's actively doing drilling in Robinson's. Actively. They're already drilling. We got nothing to safeguard us. Nothing. And we also have Atco, which is another company. So I'm going to go ahead and play this now. And then I'll come back on after. All right. I got to do it old school. I got to do it old school. If there's people out there that know technology better than me, I'd love your help. But here's the video, and I'm going to post the YouTube link. It's up on YouTube. Protest outside the Energy NL conference in 2024, I had an opportunity to speak to Julie Lemure, the CEO of Triple Point Resources. This is a company that wants to come to our area and store hydrogen, compressed air, and or other gases in a salt dome under the Trans-Canada Highway, one that is bigger than the Eiffel Tower. Since this discussion, there has been a lot of underhandedness in our region. Triple Point Resources claims to have strong community support, but has yet to tell anybody who has given this support. Folks, this means somebody is speaking on behalf of our residents without our consent. There needs to be a community meeting with the company and government present. Residents need to be able to make an informed choice. And with our consent, and only with our consent, should this project move forward with safeguards in place. Our Area Development Association and Local Service District have both met with these companies, but no meeting minutes have been produced. None of these meetings are being recorded, and both groups are still claiming to be neutral. In the eyes of these companies, neutrality is consent. We need a public meeting.
Afternoon, I should say. How are you? Hi. Oh, yes.
Nice to meet you.
Hi. And you're Julie Lemure in the kitchen.
Hi, Brenda.
Yeah, really nice to meet you in person. And maybe I could just give you one of our handies.
Sorry you can't see Julie. That's just the position of the body cam.
I just want to see it done properly for Newfoundland and Labrador.
We'd love to.
Oh, that's great.
And I know you're
Yes, yes.
looking for when we're going to be there. We want to plan it when people can be there.
Yeah.
So don't worry, it will happen.
You'll come out? And
We don't know exactly when, but we will.
Okay.
It's super important for us, and there's one of the question, I don't know if it's you who sent it or someone else about the sinkholes.
Yeah, there's a lot of concerns with the sinkholes and about our
So we can
fresh
show you the
water.
map, like the homework that we've done with our geologists. We can organize a call with you if you want. But there is a map of all the sinkholes that have been monitored, I guess, by the government. We put that on a map. There's none that are close to where we are. We're right on the West Canada Highway, but there's probably more that you know where they are, so we can pinpoint where they are and make sure we do the best. The sinkhole will always happen, and that's part of the world, so it's good.
Would you also be interested, if the people are consenting to the project and they're in favor, would you be open to a community benefits agreement where they can actually be told that there will be jobs for people from the area that's being affected?
We will have a lot of jobs. I think it's how everybody will split the entire work.
Okay.
There's a lot of different work that can be done, but for us, the most important is really to gather all the information you know about the land to make the project significant and ecologically friendly as much as we can. Like as an example, I think we were not there last year, but one of the first time we were there, you were at that presentation when Don Risley was there last fall. So you know where we're located on the highway. There's nobody living around there. Like sometimes people confuse us with the Atco salt mine. That's another project, like way closer to the ocean.
Yes.
And their mine is a lot more shallow. Like for us, it's close to Trans-Canada Highway, deep underground if we want to, but it's not close to anybody that lives there. People will use it for recreational, and we heard the message well on the water. Like people would use a lot of water for electrolyzer and all that. We believe we should take water from the ocean using a system that will not bring any life in the water.
Yeah.
So it's like a big, sometimes I say a big Brita filter. You find a place where you have sand, and instead of having a pipe that goes in the ocean and bring everything in, it just funnels through the sand slowly, and then the water can go back. Then we need to treat it. It's more expensive. We believe it's almost $80 million more expensive. But
Just want to do
we
things
believe,
properly.
we believe it's the right way.
When Mr. Lacey was there, they did share that they were going to want some assistance from maybe our fire department. And we asked if there were, because we have one truck for 1,000 people. And we did ask if, so if you want to use our fire and emergency services, is there, are you going to help augment that? Or
He's true as well. And we're like, we need to regroup and make that clear for everybody, because you have all those projects coming all at the same time. And it's super important that we resolve those questions that people locally have, like the firefighters. It's a big deal. And all that will need to be put in place. Like for us, we look at between 3 to 5 years before maybe we're in construction or operational. It takes time, but we have time to communicate all together. It's important for us.
Well, thank you. Did you recognize? Thank you for stopping.
Of course I did. I read all our LinkedIn, and anybody that's concerned, we listen to. We're not folks that ignore.
I always give a fair shake, but it's only when, and my experience has been with World Energy Juice too, when they tell you fibs to your eye, that's when I start to get my back up.
Yeah.
I just want open and honest communication. And
But for us, we're super early, so there's some question we cannot answer yet. But it will come, and continue to send your question. And
is there any one
Are
person
you with that
that can?
text?
Yes,
Yes,
I
you're
can.
with it. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Is
so
there
you
any?
can call me as well if ever you want to. But
Thank you.
we want to go slowly but surely with the information we have, when we can have it, and at the end, like it's for the people to decide if the project will go on.
Bam! It's up to the people.
For Newfoundland and Labrador to have an asset like this, because that can remove a lot of insecurity that people can have. Salt domes and cavern have been used for more than 60, 70 years, and a lot of people don't know too much about it because usually nothing happens. Sometimes things happen like anything else, but it's a lot safer, a lot less expensive. Like I said to people, we'll create jobs during construction, but then it's career. It's a generational career that will be there for a long time. This asset will be developed for 20, 30 years before we barely have a dent into it. It's that big. So it's multi-generational, and it's going to be a great career.
We're going to work with some of your universities, colleges, educate people, make sure that the jobs stay in Newfoundland. You're not bringing in folks from somewhere else. you.
And
Yeah, let us know when you would like a call with our geologist to talk about the sinkholes.
yeah.
We have, like, he showed me the full map, like, a little while ago, and we can share everything that, like, that's why those comments are so important for us. We didn't know we should look for sinkhole. Then we send that comment, we look at it, there's free information available, and we look where it is. And the people that live there, they know where maybe others are.
Yeah.
And anything else that can come like that.
That's great.
But we wanted to come out and say hi.
Well, I really.
We're not avoiding. We
That
want
is
to come out and say hi.
that is the way to my heart.
Yeah.
Is to acknowledge that we're people too, and we really love the land. And I'll give you one if you wear it. No, I won't
Take it back home,
I won't push
though.
my luck, but thank you again. Really appreciate you stopping.
Yeah.
You're good. What's your name again?
Joanne.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, folks. That's
Sees that every day.
shut this
We're
off.
reminded.
So there we go. That's the impromptu meeting that I had with Julie Lemieux outside of the Energy and L conference. And you'll notice that she says the project could last 20 to 30 years. That is generational. She admits that the sinkholes are a concern. They want to use our fire department. And when I was on the local service district, I was able to attend one meeting with Don Lacey and Karen Hockle. That's when they said they wanted to use our fire department. And when we pushed back and said, well, if you want to use our fire department, are you going to be, buying another truck? You're going to be giving them some training. We have one truck for, I believe we have like 610 homes here in Bay St. George South. So if they're responding to an emergency situation with Triple Point Resources, who's going to be responding to the fires in our community? Our fire department also has to respond to any accidents that happens on the highway, and they want to store this. They want to use a salt cavern or dome directly under the Trans-Canada Highway. So, if this company is really going to be here for 30 years or 40 years of what she was saying, we need to make sure that we're at the table and we're working out these details. Now the local service district, Joni Berry, has told people not to worry about your freshwater resources because the company wants to use salt water to hollow out these salt caverns. But that's a very irresponsible thing to say. We really need to be doing our mapping with topographical maps. We need to be looking at where people are getting their water in Heatherton and Fischels. I don't know, is there any water tables or fresh water, that's coming from anywhere that this Fischel salt dome is being created? Also the dirty water, they use salt water to hollow out these caverns, and then they create something called brine, which then needs to be released back into the ocean. That's what they plan to do. So that can also, depending on where they're releasing that and what quantities they're releasing it could hurt our fishery. So who's the fishermen that fish off officials, So we really need to be sitting down as a community. We need to be getting organized. We need to be doing mapping. Is there any farmers up in that area with agricultural resources or land? We need to be talking to them as well. And any questions that we're pulling together for Triple Point Resources, we need to be speaking to Vortex ENergy as well and Atco Mining, because their salt caverns are directly under our communities, and they're under every single one, right up as far as Highlands. Bay St. George South is comprised of, I think, about 11 communities. So there's a lot happening here. And anybody out there that has been meeting with the wind energy companies, you'll notice that there's a lot of repetition in the playbook, because they push the projects through. They try to keep your focus on one company while others get pushed through. They're promising you benefits, but if they already got the community consent, I'm not sure, why would they negotiate benefits? They're going to be negotiating with the people who are already at the table with them. Like if Peggy Margaret White is there and she's negotiating, then she may be getting stuff. I don't know, because, we're not talking to the company, and even for the people that are, we don't know what's being said because it's not being discussed back with us. So you've got Julie Lemieux on tape saying they're coming to the area, telling me that she'll answer my questions. I have written Julie and I've asked her who has given the community support for Bay St. George South. that's the first question that I have asked her since this interview or discussion. And I really hope that she answers. Now, you know, World Energy GH2, I went at them full force. But I have not done that with Triple Point Resources. I know that people in our area are supportive of industry, and I've been respectful of that. So at no point have I ever trashed Triple Point Resources. Not at all. I've continued to be very respectful, and I've just asked lots of questions and looking for answers. So, you know, if they try to pull that, again, this is where you got to be looking at what's been happening across the island and looking at the playbook. That's what World Energy GH2 said. They said they would meet with our whole community because of Brenda Kitchen. Like, come on, like, grow up, you know, grow a set. Am I that intimidating that you can't answer a few questions at a public meeting? Like, come on. But this is where we need more people speaking. As long as it's just me, they'll continue to make it personal. So if you're out there and you're watching and you know anybody from Bay St. George South that lives here or is retiring here, because not everybody's on Facebook, please show them this video. Please talk to them. And you got to start pushing the ADA and the local service district to stand up for your best interest. There are a lot of smart people on there, but I just don't know what's really happening, if they're being gaslit. Maybe they're just too busy. I mean, it's all volunteer. And if they don't have time or energy to do it, then this is where it's going to have to fall on the people to come together and form our own group. We got to keep getting organized. We got to have a community meeting. Why aren't we having our own polls? Again, she said the project is going to be 30, 40 years. The community should be deciding what's going on. And Julie also said in that interview that, you know, this is up to the people to decide. She admits it herself, and we got it on tape, okay? We have to use this to our advantage to protect the people who live here. And if you want this industry, I'm not against industry. I am for responsible industry, sustainable industry. And if our community of Bay St. George South says, look, we want all of these salt caverns to be explored, we want this industry, then I will stand with the community and I will do everything I can to support us through this process to get the best safety safeguards in place to protect the people, to safeguard the areas that are valuable to us, to protect our fresh drinking water, and to make sure that if there are any jobs, they go to the people who live here first, so that if people want to move back home, then we have that choice. But so like, I'm not just blatantly against industry, but 100% I am against World Energy GH2 because they've proven themselves again and again as liars. And you can't do business with people who constantly lie like that. And you know what? This is a perfect segue into the next part of my live tonight, which is about John Risley and Brenda Paddick, who are co-founders of World Energy GH2, and they're being taken to court. They're being taken to court. There's been a statement of claim against them in the Ontario court. They had a chance to file a statement of defense in 20 days, but they did not file anything. So it is alleged that they are guilty of insider trading and disclosure failures, and it's all tied to a company called MDA Space Limited. They both knew that the company was in trouble, and so before this deal that they had, the MDA Space Limited had, they knew it was going to flop, and they quickly sold all their shares, I should say, to my understanding, they sold all their shares. Brenda Paddick walked away with like $4.5 million. John Risley walked away with tens of millions of dollars. This is called insider trading, and it's illegal. This is what they've alleged to have done. And both are in Andrew Furey's inner circle. Remember, Andrew Furey met with John Risley at Rifflin Lodge. And then it was shortly after that the moratorium lifted. Brenda Paddick was chair of Nalcor Energy and is deeply involved in Andrew Furey's charities. It's just incredible. Yeah, thanks, Sally. They never sold all their shares, but they sold a lot. Brenda Paddick walking away with $4.5 million, and John Risley walking away with tens of millions of dollars. And if they're guilty of insider trading, then this is something that can really help us and put these people under, because anybody who is being suspected of anything to do like this when it comes to money or financials, you know, it's going to bring a lot of concern from future investors, and public perception can really hurt them. And they need investments if they're going to continue to try to move forward with World Energy GH2. So this is a civil suit. And a huge hats off to Fox Carter Blogger. He is the one who broke this story, and I will be posting Fox Carter Blogger's link in the comments once I get off. And I'll also make sure that he's in the live recap. But he did a fantastic job finding this information out. This is a civil suit, and because it's in Ontario, there's also an organization called the Ontario Securities Commission, which regulates securities, you know, stocks, investments, financial markets. So, you know, the fact that it's in the courts, the Ontario Securities Commission is usually, they're going to be tipped off as well. There's going to be a lot of scrutiny on both of these men, John Risley and Andrew Fury's buddies, John Risley and Brendan Paddick. And it could show that they were involved with fraud. They could show that they're guilty of insider trading. It could hurt their future investments because this is about money. People are very careful who they give money to. And, you know, even if they don't lose, it can really hurt investor confidence and public opinion. And remember, these are the two co-founders of World Energy GH2. So while, you know, Triple Point Resources, we haven't had the same experience with them at all. This is why you have to be meeting with these companies, because it didn't take long to find out that World Energy GH2 would say and do anything to get community support. They lie directly to your eye. They tell you things like the turbines and the blades are all recyclable. They tell you things like, oh geez, I can remember John Hogan telling me not to worry about birds dying in the turbines, because the only birds that are going to die are birds like the common crow. You know, nothing about the wind turbines. They got they're going to be built in migratory paths. Like, come on. You know, they told us to our eye that they were going to do this all with private money, and they didn't. They took $128 million of our taxpayer dollars, and not just Newfoundlanders and Labradorians money, but federal funds. So people all over Canada should really be looking at this company who lied about that. So World Energy GH2 and John Risley, Brendan Paddick, they're liars. We don't have to do business with companies that lie like that. And now they're being taken to court in Ontario. It's a civil suit where it's going to bring a lot of speculation on their ability to manage money. Their investors are going to be concerned. And this is the sort of thing that we need so that these people just get out of the picture. World Energy GH2, just give up and leave. And all these mega wind turbine projects, Newfoundland and Labrador is not a place for these mega projects. And Everwind Fuels, they're no better. They're out there, they're pulling fast ones. And both of these companies were on record as saying that if the people didn't want these, if it didn't work for the people, it doesn't work for us. And then you see poll after poll after poll happening on the Port-au-Port Peninsula and on the Burin Peninsula saying no. And then when you go back to them, then they just ignore the polls and keep pushing forward anyway. You know, sticking to people that's there to push their projects forward. You know, they got them already placed in communities. And that's where, you know, bullying and gaslighting, and Amanda Butcher uncovered a lot of it in her post as well earlier this week. So this is where we really, you know, look, I didn't want to get political. I had no intentions of ever becoming an activist. But what's happening is putting our lives at risk, is putting our way of living at risk. And we've really got to stand up and be noticed now and speak up for our community and our way of living. And, we can win this. We can push back against this industry, or they're just going to run all over us. They don't want us in rural Newfoundland anyway. I mean, the government has said time and time again how much money we cost them. Meanwhile, we're like their tourism. People need us, right? You need, and I'll go back, like the townies need the Baymen, like the Baymen need the townies. We need each other. where are the people from town going to go when they're stressed out? You know, you need to continue to maintain the roads out around rural Newfoundland because we are the tourism industries. We are where people are going to go to get back to nature, to be grounded, to remember who they are. I mean, come on, the hunters, the gatherers, our freshwater resources. We have to protect all of that now. There's places in the world where they don't even have any water. They're having to buy all their water. And here we are ready to pass ours over for pennies to these hydrogen plants and putting our water at risk. I mean, if our, Joni Berry told people not to worry about our water. Well, you know what? If that was the case, then why did Triple Point Resources discuss water as an issue with Elvis Gillum in a private meeting that he had with them? He never told anybody about it, but it still happened, and he still discussed it with us, and he told us. Triple Point Resources was ready to put in some sort of software to so that we could monitor our water in case it gets impacted negatively by the salt mines. So if there was no risk, why would they be having that discussion in the first place? You know, so just bypass Joni, talk to the elected representatives, because we got dirty dealings happening here too, just like there is all across the island. It's just crazy. That's right, Margie. They want to force us out. They're not fixing up the roads, and the water's not fit to drink in some places. It's just crazy. We have to protect what we have. Hey, Devin. So Devin, he's fantastic. He's a fighter out in Central. And he was really involved in fighting back against the gun laws that they were trying to impose on us. I think Newfoundland, Labrador, and Nova Scotia have stood strong, and we're not giving up our firearms. Devin also believes that the PC government could, potentially be helpful. And you know what? They did make the right decision. And I encourage each and every one of you that believe in the PC. I mean, the PC government has a chance to do the right thing. People always got to be given that chance first. And I really appreciate you, Devin, and I'm so grateful for you for being involved with this. So it was 9 o'clock. Oh my God, that's an hour. Does anybody have any questions for me? I'll stick around for a while after the live. I'm going to post the YouTube link so you can watch that video yourself. And I encourage you to share that. And, and what's happening in Bay St. George South. Remember, Triple Point Resources wants that salt caverns under the Trans-Canada Highway. So anybody that's traveling the Trans-Canada Highway should be concerned about that as well. So, so thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I know that we, sometimes during the live, we can get up to like 20 people viewing, but just know that throughout the week, as is shared, and please share the live when I get off here. Please continue to share it and tag people you think should be watching this. And know that by the end of the week, sometimes we reach, usually we reach over 1,000 people, but sometimes we reach as much as 2,000 people. So just keep the conversation going. And remember, we don't need to have everybody involved, but we do need to have enough people to tip the scales. Just enough people, you can like one mosquito can make a lot of noise, right? And drive you crazy and really make an impact. But if you got 10 mosquitoes buzzing around the government's head, they can't be ignoring all the mosquitoes. That may not be a good analogy, but feel free to throw out your own. But I just mean that, we can still make a lot of noise. We can still make a big impact as long as we are persistent. We have to keep up with the email. Emails do work. Letter writing campaigns do work. Making those phone calls do work. Okay. You just got to stay persistent. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Deneen. Yes, my dear. My sleep has started to change around. Lots of times I go to sleep like at 9:30 and I wake up at 7:30. I'm having good sleeps now, way better. There may be the odd night where I wake up for an hour or two in the middle of the night, but, they're rare now, not like it was in the beginning, thankfully. Those sleepless nights, they were bad in the beginning. I'll have a great night, Alfred. Thank you, Pierre, for being here. Hey, Margie, appreciate you. Please our worst day jump. Oh, awesome, awesome. Again, thank you so much, everybody. You know, our love for Newfoundland and Labrador is infinite. We will continue to stand on truth and integrity. And we can win this. Again, just stay dedicated, and we can win this for a better Newfoundland and Labrador, for everybody, for all of us, all across the island. Abundance. We should be abundant. We should be getting rebates. We shouldn't have to be worrying about our electric bill. We shouldn't need to be worrying about blackouts. I mean, what was that all about? Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, we have to come first. All right, again, thank you all so much. Keep up the great work. Please stay in touch with me, and look forward to seeing you back here next Sunday at 8 o'clock.